Hello everyone. I know it has been a while. My son has been to multiple parties. My household has gotten sick. We are still recovering, but I am back with another video. So I want to talk about a sensitive topic, but one that keeps coming to me. People keep coming to me asking me questions about this in particular, so I thought it would be a good topic to have a video about. Due to its sensitivity, I'm actually going to be using code words, and I'm sure you'll catch on at some point. I know this is probably a word that YouTube does not want said, and so we're gonna speak in codes on this one, okay? So I want to talk about 3 points when it comes to unaliving yourself as it pertains to your life insurance. So we're going to say unalive, or we're going to say the S word. And so I'm sure you guys know what I mean. And so first I want to talk about where can this exclusion be found. And so it is definitely within your life insurance policy, and this can be in an individual coverage. So if you have life insurance through your employer, on yourself, it would be in there. If you have life insurance on a spouse, it would also be in your spousal dependent coverage. And if you had life insurance on, say, a child, a dependent child, you know, you can cover your children up until the age of 26. And so this could also be in a dependent child coverage. And so, you know, I had somebody recently ask me, you know, if my child unalived themselves because they have some concerns, they've dealt with addiction and things like that, this child that is, would my life insurance on them be denied? And it very well could be, because most policies, if not all policies, have what's called an S word exclusion. And what that says is that if the person that we are paying this claim for unalive themselves, then the claim would be denied, right? And that means that instead of receiving a life insurance check, you would receive a denial letter in the mail. And so next I want to talk about intentionality. And when I say that, you know, one would think like, okay, well, obviously it was intentional, right? If this is what you are doing, it's intentional. And that is true. But there are situations where it was unintentional. And I'll briefly tell you about a claim that I personally paid for a teenager who, unfortunately, the claim was denied. Here's why. This was a dependent child-like coverage. This child was hanging with the wrong crowd. They were carjacking. They were on a street with several cars parked, lined up, and this teenager and a group of kids were opening the car doors to see which one was open so that they could rob it. And unfortunately, this child opened the car of the wrong door. The owner was in the car and protected themselves from being robbed and shot them. This child lost their life. Again, they were a teenager, they were a minor, and this was considered an S word. Now, how is that, right? Because you're thinking someone shot him. He didn't shoot himself. In the eyes of life insurance, I should say in the eyes of the law, it's not even a life insurance thing, in the eyes of the law, if you lose your life while you are involved in any crime activity, any theft, if you have an encounter with the police and you are not obliging and they shoot, all of those cases, those deaths are unfortunately ruled an S word. Because here's why. The thought is, had you not put yourself in that position, had this child not been robbing cars, committing a crime, then he would still be alive today. And so that is an example of an unintentional S word. It's unintentional, but that is the manner that was listed on the death certificate. And so it's a tough situation, but again, because the death is ruled the S word, there is an S word clause in there. It's a denial. And it was one of my tougher conversations, having to call that mother and say, I'm so sorry, but there is an exclusion in this policy, and therefore we will not be paying this claim. Unfortunately, it is a denial. And so my heart really went out to her, because not only have you just lost your child, but now the insurance you've been paying into, the insurance that you probably would have used to bury your child, is no longer available to you. Okay, so definitely something to keep in mind. The third and final thing I want to talk about is, for some reason, it is, at least when I worked in insurance, it was very popular for people to call in and ask hypothetical questions. Like, hypothetically, if I unalived myself, would my claim be payable? Like, that happens more than you know. And what customer service is instructed to do is immediately put you on hold and transfer you to an S word hotline, in which they will provide you with some counseling, ask you sorts of questions to make sure you're in a safe space, you are not putting yourself at risk, you are not in harm's way. And what people don't know is, when you have called into customer service, they're gathering information. They're asking you your name, your telephone number, your date of birth, your social security, so that they can pull up your account, right? Either they're pulling up your account or they're creating one for you, and they're documenting this. So not only do they have your phone call on record, but they have written documentation in your notes. So with those two things, if you did in fact follow through with unaliving yourself, these are now three supporting items for a claim to be denied, right? And so you definitely want to keep these things in mind. I hope this was helpful. This was a very short video for today, but I'll definitely be back with more. We have some things planned for the weekend, and so I'll definitely take you along on that journey. Make sure you are subscribing. I want to be able to provide you with all the tips and information that I have as it pertains to life insurance. And if you have any specific questions, definitely drop them in the comments. I'll be sure to respond to you as soon as possible. But until next time, have an amazing day.